Back here at the Cave of Science, looking at the tracker app that we were using. And so we're going to look at an example of how to use Tracker. So once you open up the application off the laptop, and also this is a free program if you want to install it at home. So you're going to need to go to Files. You got to import your video. So open File. Now you're going to, at school, you've got to import it from your school folder. But I have mine on my desktop, so I'm going to import it off the desktop. And let's see, it's here somewhere. There we go. And there's my video. Now I did this one for demonstration purposes. Of course, you're going to be looking at the one in the with your floating object in the stream. Well, once we have our video on here, probably want to narrow it down because what we're really looking for is when the object starts to move across the screen. And for whatever reason, sometimes this Zuggle video program part of this kind of reverses things. And we'll talk about that in a second. So I'm going to play my video. It's pretty short here. And as you can see, I've got some dead spots in there. So if you go back and we'll rewind that. And let's just take the scrubber and move it until the ball starts to enter the frame, which is right about there. You can take the little black arrow here, and this will actually edit your video for you. And we can play it from there. And we can see it's pretty much out of the frame there. So we can take the one off the other side. And we can reduce the size of our video there. Do you have to do that? No, but yeah, it just makes it a little bit easier. All right, from there we need our calibration stick. So if we go up to our tools up here and the calibration stick, if you look here, there's the folder, there's the save. We're going to go to calibration tools and we're going to click on that. And we're going to go to new and we want a calibration stick. And as you can see, you have this calibration tool here. So what you're going to want to do is wherever your wherever your ruler is in the shot, you're going to place the ends of this on the ruler, because this is going to be your calibration. And then you have a value here that says length 100. You can either change it up here or you can change it there. And we're just going to put a 1 in there and hit enter. And that just makes it 1. So now when I play my video, I've got a calibration tool. And let's see, we probably need to move it over a touch. I don't think I held it real still, but and there we go. I think that'll work. And let's play it one more time. Yep, that looks like that'll probably work for our purposes. The next thing we need to do is set up our axis. Well, next to the calibration tool, you'll see this pink thing, and it's called coordinate axis. And once you click on that, you've got coordinate axes. You've got the X and you've got the Y. And I want to make sure my object stays along the X-axis, parallel to the X-axis. And so I'm going to play this, and that's not too bad. But if you need be, you can click here and you can move your X-axis up and down to get it aligned. You don't want the ball to come across and underneath. You want to keep it on one side. So we'll check it again here. Yeah, that's not too bad. Now, many of you, and it's really no big deal. We were going to do this earlier with the Rocket project, but the program wasn't loaded up. Your ball or your video is more on the vertical. No problem at all there. There's this little hatch mark right here on the X-axis. So you would take that and just rotate it 90 degrees. So as your ball is moving in this direction, it's on the X-axis. So very simple to do. And again, the same thing here. You can move the axis to adjust it wherever you need it. So again, if you've got your video is on the vertical, you're going to need a little crosshatch, take it and rotate it. And you want this axis parallel to the direction your ball travels. So I'm going to move mine back down and recheck it here, make sure I look good. And that's not too bad. All right, the next thing we need to do, we need to plot the points here. So to get to that point, pun intended, go to create, and we want to use point mass. So we'll click on point mass, and as you notice, you come up with a graph over here and also a box that says mass A. If you want to go ahead and change the name, feel free. Floating object, rubber duck, whatever you want to do, that is fine. I'm just going to leave mine as point mass. Now here's the key. We want to track our object as it moves across the screen. So you're going to hold down the shift button, and you can see now my cursor or my pointer has turned to a box. And as I'm holding the shift button, click the object, move back to the object, keep the shift button held down, and you can see the object is moving across, and I am clicking on the center of the object. And do this the best you can. And every time you click, you can see your graph is adding the point. Now if I do a couple more here, but you got to keep the shift button held down and then left click. Then once you add up, you can see the points you took on the video, and you can see all the points you have on the graph here. Pretty much as you would expect. As time increases, looks like the speed started to increase, or the velocity. All right, so that looks pretty good. You can see you also have a table down here of all these positions. So what we're going to want to do here is we want to change this time, and we want velocity. So if you hover over the X on the Y-axis and click on that, you get a whole bunch of different graphs you can do here. And what we're looking for is velocity in the X component. So we can click on that, and there is our graph. Your graph's going to look different. Everybody's going to look a little bit different depending on how many points you use, and the accuracy of where you took your measurement and so forth. So this is the data we really want to import and to manipulate. So from here, we're going to go to File, click on that, and we want to export this data, and we want to export it as a data file. So we'll click there, and you're going to see we're going to come down to this box here with excuse me, with some different cells, different options here. The data table probably should, I think it'll default to what you have. Number format as formatted, you got to make sure you click that. The cells, you're going to want all cells. The delimiter, you're going to want comma. And so you want all of those checked. It's got to be in this form. Now when you hit save as, and again, you get it wherever you save it. If you're doing this at home, you probably save on your desktop. If you're wherever, you have to be saving it. So when you name this, and this is important, I'm just going to call this Mass A. Once you are done naming it, the extension's got to be .csv. So that extension, let's say you call it rubber duck, it's got to be rubber duck.csv. Comma separated values here. And so it's got to be in that extension. From here, wherever you're saving it, you've got a whole bunch of different options here. I'm just going to save mine on my desktop. Hit save. And that's all there is with this part. The next video, we're going to go into how to manipulate the data. So I hope this helps, and we'll see you here pretty quick.